Hello, Cosmy here today. We're gonna be reacting to the cost of the Concordia. I know a little bit about this because I remember when it first was news. I know it was a ship that sunk somewhere in the Mediterranean. I think it was on like the Italian coast or maybe the Italian island. I don't remember exactly which. All I know, it was a big ass ship. It sunk billions of dollars. And I think the people, the corporation got away with it. It was like a fine. Like, was it like $1 million? I feel like the fine wasn't even that much. Like, $1 million sounds like a lot to most people, but like, to a $1 billion company, $1 million fine for no legal action? Yeah, my dude, fuck it, take it $1 million. So, internet historians can explain exactly what happened. He's the best when it comes to this shit. He goes into great detail, so we'll get into this.
The Costa Concordia.
Bro, this guy gets me every time.
It's been 8 years. I can still smell the buffets from their 5 restaurants. The casino and 3-story theater had hardly been used. The gym, the day spa, the sheets in a 1500.
We're talking about a boat, right? Like a cruise liner. Like, if I'm going on a cruise, the last thing I want to do is sit in a fucking casino. Like, but I guess that's what like rich people want to do. Like,
luxurious cabins hadn't even been slept in. Costa Concordia
now the ball I can
$570 million to build, and you could tell. You could really tell.
That's a lot of money for a boat. They better be making millions. Well, I guess it's at the bottom of the sea now, so they're not making anything. Not in HD.
I remember it like it was just a few years ago. We had left Civitavecchia, a port in Rome, and we were making our way to Savona. It was day 2 of our 7-day journey. But that ship, she was cursed.
Oh my God.
When she premiered, the traditional bottle of champagne bounced right off the side instead of smashing.
Okay, that's a little sus.
But I'm not the superstitious type. Nothing could go wrong on Friday the 13th of January, 2012, on the 100th year anniversary of the Titanic.
I'm gonna be honest with you, that's a little sus. That look, sometimes I sit and like, am I in a sitcom? Because this is just shit that happens. Like for example, the Titanic and the fucking sub. Like, I just wake up sometimes. I'm like, am I real? am I just not in like a movie and I'm just trapped in here till the movie ends?
On a ship that's also only safety rated for 2-compartment flooding. Especially not when you have a 5-star max level captain like Francisco Scatino. A man who mysteriously rose from head of security.
I know he was a security guard, but I'm pretty sure before like this, he was like a professional, like, I don't know what they would call it. Because when this first happened, I remember reading on this, and he was a security guard, yeah, but he knew how to like drive boats and stuff. Like, it's not like he was security and they just made him captain one day. That just doesn't happen. It doesn't work like that. He was
to the position
of I don't know enough about
captain within just.
I don't know enough about this to really explain it, but all I know is he was
exactly
good.
What to do in case of an emergency.
Oh yeah, for
example,
sure.
When he caused this emergency in 2008, when he crashed into a port.
Wait, he crashed a boat before this, and you let him drive another boat. You know what? If this was his first incident, accidents happen. Okay, I'll forgive this one.
And in 2010.
Okay, it happened twice.
in Warnemünde, Germany, when he was steering a different ship and came into port too fast and caused another collision.
Whoopsies.
I've got a good feeling about this. So let's set the scene.
Look, after the whole Titanic thing, I'm not fucking with the ocean. The ocean, I'm not fucking with it. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm a land creature and I'll stay where I belong and I'll leave the ocean alone.
It's a beautiful evening. People are having fun on the slides, drinks at the bar. Antonio Magnotta is playing piano at the restaurant. Martin the Magician is setting up for his show. And the ship is setting up for a little detour.
I know it's a weird thing to say. I don't have a fear of much. Like, I'm not scared of the dark. I'm not scared of weird creatures. I am terrified of water. I don't like water. I don't like swimming. I hate it. I've you know why? I've almost drowned it twice in my existence. After that, I was like, no more water for me. I'm like, no. First one, almost death. Second one, I managed to survive. But after that, I was like, no more water. I don't like water. I can take showers fine. 2 foot of water, okay, that's good enough. 3 foot, okay, you're really stretching it.
It's called a sail-by salute.
I'm not getting on a boat.
You get real close to the shore and honk the horn.
I'd rather go to space. I'd rather be floating in space than get on a boat in the ocean.
The locals hate it, but the customers love it, and it's a tradition. Scatino, the captain, comes into the dining hall with the lady, Dominica Samorton. Remember this face, because you'll be seeing a lot of it later. Scatino eats his dinner
Rule number 1, trust no one with brown eyes. As someone with brown eyes, don't trust them. They can't be trusted.
For a little while. Then he, Dominica, and the maitre d' finish up and excuse themselves. They're heading to the bridge. It's time for that sail-by salute. This time, they're going to get closer than ever. Just 1,500 feet from the island of Giglio. And how are they going to determine this distance? Well, of course, the captain is going to eyeball it.
Fucking genius.
Apparently, it's not an uncommon thing to do. Scatino turns to the fella steering.
If my captain was just eyeballing
Jacob
it, I would be
Russell.
terrified.
First interesting tidbit. Costa Crociere has hired Jacob from Indonesia at a rock-bottom price, and he's a bit of a newbie to the job. In fact, his profession hitherto, a painter and a cleaner. It's his first time steering a...
Bro, no, this guy is a Chad. That guy is an absolute Chad. Imagine being a painter. Wait, a painter and a janitor? Then you're like, I could steer a boat. I can do it. I promise you. I'm a jack of all trades, a master of none.
A massive ship, and he's very excited.
No,
At least, we think he is. It's hard to tell because he doesn't speak English or Italian very well at all. Off to a good start. The second in command orders the helmsman
I want to see the interview he
290.
had to get this
Now,
job.
don't be
Like,
confused
I
by
want
these
to be in
numbers,
that
they're just the
room.
degrees on a compass. At the same time, the captain
the
whips
info?
out his cell phone and calls former captain Mario Palombo, who lives on the island. They chat about the safe distance to Giglio's shores. It's all very casual. Anyway, Mario says that the safe distance is between 0.3 and 0.4 miles from shore. The captain is going all in. This is not his first sail-by salute, so he's confident in what he's doing. We're going closer than we've ever been before. The captain's eyeballing it again. New heading of 300, he tells the helmsman. Downstairs, Martin is about to cut his assistant in half. And of course, that means that there's already a lady inside this box. She's waiting for the cue, and then she'll poke her legs out. The captain is giving more orders. Pulling gently to 310. Increase speed to 16 knots. Going this fast is going to be a fatal error. But before we talk about that, let's talk about another big problem. Language barrier. Because at this point, the captain says 325, but the helmsman relays 315. So the first officer intervenes, and he goes, no, 335, which is also wrong.
Oh, fucking
and then the
thank
captain
God.
clarifies, no, 325. The helmsman confirms 325.
This is why I'm never getting
Their
on
poor
a ship right here.
communication has them moving at a much wider angle than they think they are. However, the captain should and would know this, except for the next problem: complacency about procedure.
Bro,
The standard procedure of a ship this large is for the third officer to give exact positional coordinates every time the captain gives a new directional order. But they're not doing that. 3:30, he says. The helmsman relays 3:30. The ship reaches 16 knots. The captain then turns to the second officer and instructs him to go to the left wing. That's these things here, and they basically exist so you can get a better view over the whole vessel. A few seconds pass, and then the mood starts to turn. Scatino notices white foam of waves breaking against the rocks directly in front of him in the distance. The Costa Concordia right now is almost 700 meters closer to the rocks than it should be. Without deviation, there is going to be a direct collision.
Oh, shit!
Scatino immediately commands the ship to start turning away. 335. Not enough. The captain shouts, 340. The captain yells, 350. Now, remember how I said that accelerating to 16 knots was a fatal error?
Don't know what that means.
Well, that's because it's made this ship incapable of such a drastic turn.
Oh, so it's gonna, I'm gonna get 16 knots is fast, but not that fast.
The front end is not working. You're turning, and you're just going straight. You want to go over here, but you're going to end up over here.
So despite the order of 350, right now the bow is still only pointing at 327. Not nearly enough to miss the rock. And oh no, it's about to get worse. That language barrier again. In these critical moments where every second counts, the helmsman wrongly relays 340. The captain snaps back, 350 starboard or we end up on the rocks. The third officer goes to assist the helmsman. Now, don't get confused by the orders from here. We're changing over to rudder instructions.
Look, I can't be like that guy shouldn't be there. That the guy who just he doesn't even know either language very well. But it's such like a Chad move. Like, you somehow got this job, you're not qualified for it, and somehow you're still there. You're like, yeah, I got this. I can't even be angry at him. Like, it's all about the hustle at the end of the day. You gotta feed a family.
The captain yells, starboard 10, starboard 20, and still it's not enough. Hard to starboard. That means as hard as it'll go. But at this point, even if they clear these rocks, they need to get the rest of the ship to swing around it. So the captain yells, midship, which centers the rudder. The bow is now less than 150 meters from Skull Rock. Port 10. But the helmsman only gets to port 5 before another order is given 2 seconds later. Port 20. They might just avoid disaster here, maybe. But then, oh no. One more time, the helmsman cocks up at the worst possible moment. The helmsman goes to starboard instead of port, undoing the swing. 8 seconds later, he realizes the error and corrects, but it's too late. He has just turned a probable near miss into a sure hit. All they can do now is hold on as the bow of the ship narrowly passes by the rocks. Hard to port! The second officer yells, we're gonna hit! Collision.
What the fuck? Thank you, Astoria. Oh my god, imagine being an engineer down like in the bottom of the deck and water just starts pouring in. Like, I couldn't even imagine.
Downtown.
Oh my god.
Nordtown.
I'm not skipping it. His ads are really good.
It's day 56 of playing Russian roulette. Seems I never win.
Gonna drink all by yourself?
Somebody has to.
I hear you're a man who's good at finding folks.
I'm many things.
I'm looking for this fella. I gots to find him. It's breaking my little heart.
I'll see what I can do. I have contacts in thousands of servers in dozens of countries across the globe.
Shut the fuck up.
And just like that, she was gone. The only thing she left was a calling card.
I have to respect.
Sometimes when you follow a case,
it follows
you
back. Yeah. I've heard this.
NordVPN can protect my online data. But who can protect me from myself? When they said this job gets easier, it was just another lie. Forensics found his password spread all the way down the block. In a perfect world, we'd all use NordVPN. But I guess this isn't that kind of story. I took the brakes off my car. Man like me never really learned how to stop.
Thank you. That was so
I took the steering wheel out
cringy.
too. I let the road take me where I'm supposed to be.
Oh my god.
That's right, Toots. Your husband's dead. Merry Christmas. Go to nordvpn.com/internet story
I need
for a
the-
huge
I need more.
discount on the 2-year plan. Ad over.
The ship hits rocks on the port side. A 53-meter gash opens up in the hull, and thousands
That's
of
not
tons
good.
of water begin pouring in.
That's good.
A loud scraping and bang is heard by all passengers. At the helm, there's panic. Rumblings in the dining room. Martin awkwardly pauses his act as he's helping his assistant into the box. Meanwhile, the lady inside is trapped and terrified. There's
I would be,
confusion
yeah, I
across
don't
the
even
ship.
blame her.
All of the crew off shift come back on duty. All officers run to the bridge. Technical crews run down to the lower decks to assess damage. On connection with the rocks, they lose propulsion and slow to 8.3 knots. And they are now adrift. Close the watertight doors at stern. Enormous volumes of water are pouring in. So much so that within 29 seconds of collision, all 6 engines stop working through flooding.
Damn.
22 seconds later, a blackout happens. Lights, electrics, the water pumps too, everything. The captain orders the helmsman hard starboard. This is the final position of the rudder before power to that too is lost. The Costa Concordia, now without power, is drifting starboard, plunged into absolute darkness. A quick breakdown of the flooding. When the Concordia struck land, it tore open 3 watertight compartments. At first, compartment 5, which filled very rapidly. Then 6 more slowly, 4 shortly after.
You're telling me that the 4 apartments that were hit were the 4 most important apartments? No, fair enough, no.
Then 7, 8, and 3.
Can't
Modern
make
ships
this
are
shit
built
up.
to withstand 2 compartment breaches. These compartments especially, though, are a problem because they contain the engines and the electrics. These main generators give power to the whole ship. From propulsion motors to rudder to hotel functions, pretty much everything. When they went out, the ship was a functionless, sinking cage. A few seconds later, the emergency batteries for internal lighting and communications kick on. When the lights come back on, Martin has vanished. He's ditched the stage. And it caused a huge panic in the theatre, as passengers are trying to flee to their cabins and to muster stations. People already in their cabins come out and start putting on life vests. Staff rally and try to calm everyone down. Everything is fine. There's no need for vests. Please return to your cabins.
People need to understand the best thing to do in any situation is not to panic. And I know how hard not to panic is. Like you feel lost, you feel hopeless almost. If you don't panic, you have a higher chance of surviving than if you panic. Panicking solves nothing. It just makes everyone else around you more scared than they already are.
The emergency generator starts. All of the watertight doors close except for door 12, which is jammed. The captain...
Are you sure this is a movie? I'm convinced this didn't actually happen. Like, if you told me this, I wouldn't believe you at first. Like, if I didn't know this was already real and already heard things about it, I'd be like, nah. How does that, like, did they check the doors, or did that one time when we needed the door the most, it just stopped working?
calls Pelot, the chief engineer, as the ship begins to list on the port side. There's water coming in? Yes, there's water. But where? The engine room. But a lot of water? Yes! There's water, you can't go down. Let's go down the other side. In a moment we'll start the pumps, I'll let you know. In the theater, the whole magic box app...
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the pumps aren't gonna help. If one of the doors are jammed, the pumps is just like copium at this point.
Slides right off the stage and falls into the crowd, further increasing panic. On the bridge, an announcement is being prepared. They are going to lie to prevent a panic. Let's just say we have a blackout.
No, never lie, never lie. Don't ever lie. That's like one of the worst things you can do. Even if what you're about to say, how honest what you're about to say is gonna hurt someone, it's better than lying to them, huh? Especially now, lying puts everyone's life in danger. The boat is sinking. That's confirmed. They know this. Lying to them, it's gonna get people killed.
The deputy chief engineer enters the engine control room. He confirms to the bridge that at least compartments 5, 6, and 7 are flooded. Announcements are made.
We have the captain to inform you that due to an electrical fault, which is currently under control, we're currently in a blackout. Our technicians are working to resolve.
Technically, do not like what he said wasn't a lie. They all having a technical fault. But like he's not telling them all the truth. But that's just scummy. I'm sorry, yeah.
Resolve the situation, and we'll inform you of developments as they occur. Thank you for your attention.
Coincidentally, at the same time in the restaurant, they're playing My Heart Will Go On.
No.
And it's very much...
No fucking way. No, Internet Story has to be making that one up. There's no fucking way that song is playing right now. There's no
not
fucking
helping
way.
the situation. The captain calls the Costa Crisis Unit, Roberto Ferrarini. He tells the crisis unit that they've hit a rock, that they're assessing damages, and that they are also in a blackout. The crisis office says to reverse the ship up onto shore. Well, how are you going to do that? You don't have power to the rudder, let alone the engine. You know, hoist the sails?
Fuck
Anyway,
yeah.
around this time, the wind direction creates a starboard list, and the ship begins to turn anyway, drifting right back towards the shore, which is a very good
Whoa,
thing because you
isn't
want the
that
ship to end
fucking
up as close
convenient?
to shore as possible.
Finally, something good happening.
A panicked passenger senses that something is off. This isn't like any electrical problem that she's ever seen. Plus,
When that guy made his deception check, he rolled a 24 and just told everyone it was electrical fault, and that one motherfucker who rolled a 25 is like
there was a massive crashing noise, and now the ship is
the
tilting.
125 inside check.
So, she contacts her daughter in Italy. The daughter then calls the police, and the police call the harbour master. While that goes on, a conversation between Pilon and Ambrosio. The diesel is not starting. The captain asks the engine room, but where have we made contact? Thinking that the incoming water can be reduced. Captain, here everything is lost. The electrical panel, everything. They're saying at this point that the ship is going down.
Yeah, this is what you call the emergency.
Ferrarini again. Actually, 2 compartments have been flooded, but don't worry, the ship's stability isn't in danger. Wrong. Passengers begin going to muster stations on their own initiative. The cruise director says, "We have a lot of people at muster stations that I do not want to fall overboard. Do we make an announcement to tell them to go to the lounges?" Bozio says, "I think that's best." The harbour master from Livorno calls the ship. The captain tells them that we just have a blackout. How long has this blackout been going on? About 20 minutes. Have you asked passengers to put on life vests? It's just a blackout. I gotta go. The harbour master is suspicious. He says to his superiors that he thinks
Fucking
something more
sus.
is going on. He calls a patrol boat to the area and asks them to look at the ship. Another problem. The fan on the emergency diesel generator isn't working properly. Pilon manually has to turn the thing on and off with a screwdriver so that it doesn't overheat and cause a fire. The captain is on the phone to the lower deck.
I respect the engineers risking their lives to keep whatever left functioning on this boat functioning. Like I respect that.
Asking pointless questions.
No,
like,
real.
Is it still flooded? Yes. Yes, it is. The captain is essentially in denial of the situation.
Oh yeah, of course he
The
is.
harbour master calls again.
A $50 million
Finally, he
boat
says,
about
"The ship
no
is taking
$500
on
million
water
boat about the
through an opening on
sink.
the left side, and the ship is listing." He qualifies with, "No one dead or injured." The harbour master asks if he needs help. "Just a tugboat," when in reality they need a full rescue. With 3 compartments flooded, the captain finally realizes that things are really bad, and they are not going to improve. The Coast Guard orders every available ship to the scene. Meanwhile, up with the passengers, the cruise director's assistant says, Everything's under control. Please return to your cabins or hang about in the lounges, no problem. She said this despite knowing it was wrong and that it further endangered lives. Most passengers at this point, though, aren't listening to this nonsense.
They better get punished. I swear to God, if the people, like, except for that one dude, the guy who, you know, is one of the responsibilities for the ship sinking. I hope he makes it out fine. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe a few years in jail, but I hope everyone who lied or put everyone in danger gets punished, because I'm gonna be so fucking pissed if the moral of this story is, well, you know, shit happens.
They're busy figuring out how to abandon ship. Bang, 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 bang. Local television has already picked up the story and they begin broadcasting live radio feed from the bridge. Captain, the passengers are going on board the boats. Okay, let them go to shore. So then general emergency? Wait, let me talk to Ferrarini. We risk the emergency generators that do not have cooling. It has cooling problems, 100 degrees. The cooling fan has stopped. Pilon calls the bridge and tells the safety officer they need to evacuate. The safety officer relays this to the captain, but after no response, he orders the engine room to evacuate on his own. The captain
Look, I don't. No,
says, no, stay. We're leaving. So what do? General emergency? The captain tells Ferrarini that he's abandoning ship. Abandon ship. Another announcement is made.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. The situation is under control. Please remain calm. And at this time, proceed to your muster station. They're located outside.
I think they waited too long to do this.
The Livorno Coast Guard calls again. The captain declares distress. The Coast Guard officially calls for rescue operations. They contact Pietro Mile, the helicopter base commander, who then calls in every available pilot. As he rushes down to the helicopter base, Pilon shuts down the emergency generator for the final time. The first
God, I
rescue
hope the
vessel
engineers
arrives.
make it
By
out
this
alive.
point, the lifeboats are already going.
I'm gonna
Luckily,
be so
the ship is
salty
very close to shore.
if an engineer dies.
Perhaps too
especially-
close to shore. The ship forcefully runs aground, creating an uneven center of gravity, and it begins heavily listing starboard. The captain issues a general emergency on.
If it's okay, I know ship's good enough. If it's lisping too much on one side, will it make all those lifeboats useless? Did they wait too long? Don't tell me people
announcement to
die.
abandon ship
Don't
is-
tell me people die. This could have been such a fucking like the tragedy that's about to happen could have not been as bad.
Finally called and alarms ring out, and with that comes panic. And now that they're listing, with many of the lifeboats too awkwardly positioned to enter the water, there aren't enough readily available and they have to start going back
Oh my god!
and forth to the
No
shore,
way.
picking people up and dropping them off. The patrol boats report to the Livorno harbour master that the ship has run aground and is listing heavily. So the harbour master asks the captain about it, and the captain says, no, the ship is still floating. In fact, we're trying to maneuver it onto the shore. They know he's lying. Hold on, I'm reversing it. Beep, 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 beep. The captain then says to bottom out the starboard anchor. So they drop out the anchors, but let out too much chain, effectively rendering them useless.
Well,
The deputy mayor
someone
of
just
Giglio,
fucking execute this
Mario
man.
Pellegrini, and tobacco shop owner Giovanni Rossi arrive at the harbour. They watch the scene unfold. As the first of the lifeboats arrive on shore, the deputy mayor takes the initiative and races to board one of the lifeboats, returning to the ship, and starts
Fucking
trying to
Chad.
find someone in charge. He gives up and starts helping passengers. Scatino tells everyone to leave and take radios, but not before changing out of his uniform and into a nice suit. Priorities. Dimitri Christidis and Silvia Coronica leave with him. The
Well, you
Matron
gotta
and
look
some more can
nice.
both get out of there. By this point, approximately 300 people are still on the ship. Millet reaches the helicopter base. The first helicopter, a slow-moving Augusta Bell, was already rising from the tarmac for the hour-long flight south. Bozio is the last crew member left on the bridge, coordinating evacuation. He then leaves to help passengers board lifeboats. The bridge is now abandoned. And then, the ship's black box stops working. Apparently there were technical problems with it. That means, from here, things are...
Oh, it's like the black box, like the recorder of like it tells everything that happened on the ship.
gonna get a little foggy in detail.
So everything up to this now, everything is like in guess.
A while later, rescue helicopters arrive, but they're struggling to find the ship because they're expecting it to still be well above water. Passengers are scaling down the port side by ladder as lifeboats return to pick them up.
This is no joke. Oh my goodness. It was no joke, mi amor.
Passenger
Yes.
is not allowed to make a film movie.
I'm allowed.
Who say you are?
A second helicopter, a
Say
faster
you're allowed.
model, sets off. The ship stops healing and comes to a final resting place.
Whoa! At least it stopped. Like at least it stopped. But
Now the Coast Guard calls the captain because he's just learned that the captain has abandoned ship. The captain
no. Rule number 1 as captain of anything: you never abandon ship. You go down with the ship. The only time you ever abandon ship if you're the last motherfucker on it. That don't even go for ships. That goes for teams. That goes for anything. A captain will stay until the bitter end. That's what I believe in.
claims, no, actually I slipped and I fell into one of the lifeboats.
No,
I'm
man.
close. But now that I'm on board, I may as well head back to shore. DeFalco tells the captain to get the fuck back on board. And the captain
Oh my
kinda
god! Wait, you know what? After this video, I need to go listen to the phone
is
call.
confused and then effectively refuses. So the captain makes it to shore. From here, we only have mainstream news reports to rely on, so it's not going to be super accurate. But they say that Giglio's police chief then finds 110 survivors on the rocks at Point Gabbianara, and among them is the captain. It's not known whether the captain helped anyone while he was there,
At least the captain looked nice. Like I have to give him credit. At least he put on the
and in
suit.
fact, the police chief claimed that he just sat on the rocks and watched other people do the rescuing.
Bro, I can't even be angry at this captain. Like he's such an asshole that it's almost like inspiring.
A while later, a rescue boat picks up the captain and takes him to the harbour. He speaks to the police. He then finds the ship's onboard chaplain, Father Rafael Molina, and cries to him for about 15 minutes. Then he goes to the harbour master's office to receive probably the biggest dressing down of his entire life. Port authorities ask the taxi driver to take the captain back to his hotel. The captain takes the 30-second cab ride to the Bahamas hotel. According to the cabbie, he was beaten like a dog. He was cold and afraid. He only asked me where he could buy a pair of fresh socks. But then he perked right up again and gave an interview to a news crew. He told them that he was the last to leave.
The captain is usually the last to abandon ship. What happened, Captain?
We were the last to leave the ship.
I'd kill him. I would kill him. I would execute him. Back in the head, gunshot.
On Sunday
no
morning,
mercy.
a South Korean couple is found in their cabin, safe but shivering. They had slept through the crash and woke up unable to exit.
Bro, I can't be angry at this couple, because I'm the type of person, like, when I do fall asleep, nothing will wake me up. Like, I can sleep through gunfire. I can sleep through people yelling in the house. Like, I can sleep through anything. Like when I was younger, because I was the type of person that just did not want to get up for school. And my mom would do everything she tried. She tried ice water, fucking just splashed it all over me. My dude, I literally, like, the first time she did it, I literally grabbed the other side of my blanket and turned over. Because I could sleep just soaked. Like, if I'm comfortable enough, nothing bothers me when I'm asleep.
Their cabin. The last survivor, Manrico Giampandroni, was found with a broken leg. He was the cabin's service director.
Did he survive? It was just a broken
In the
leg.
end, 32 people died.
No. How did anyone die? How? Every death on this ship is so preventable, it's actually frustrating
The
to
final
hear.
body wasn't discovered until nearly 3 years later. A crew member, Russell Rebello, and it's believed that he died a hero, helping passengers off the ship. The Costa Concordia was the largest cruise ship disaster since the Titanic. And then there's the ship. This is what happens to a 110,000-ton cruise liner when it's left half rolled over in the ocean.
Wow, that's so Oh my god. Look, I know this is a tragedy, but to see like the like then and the before and then pictures, it's actually pretty cool. It just shows you how much nature can destroy something when no one's there to maintain it.
But this isn't the end. It's just the halfway point.
Oh,
what
that's
most people know
terrifying.
is that the Costa Concordia had crashed, many dead, and that the captain abandoned ship like a coward. But there's a whole veritable spaghetti of details to untangle. Let's dive in.
Oh no, him putting his hand and grabbing it, literally something deep down inside of me just oh,
There they are. The deets.
the deets. Ah. Oh my god, I didn't even think about the looting. Bro, if I'm gonna be honest with you. If I had the chance, I'd be stripping the solar panels off that ship. You would see me out there, pitch blackness, just stripping solar panels off the fucking ship.
Blue box time. The Costa Concordia was more than just a
Oh my god, and the ship was for rich people. You know how much shit is probably left in there? Like, I know it's wet, but like...
floating resort. There's a mall, a casino, cha-ching, cha-ching. This iron chest was full of safes and cash registers and expensive fittings. And there were plenty of gamers prepared to sneak by authorities and try their luck in the hot zone. Within days, police divers reported that valuable items, once seen lying around the ship, were now missing. High-end liquor, expensive furniture, dining sets, cash from the casino, cash registers, jewelry and display cabinets, safes, Japanese woodblock prints by famous 18th century artists, as well as the iconic...
I think people stealing the alt was a good thing, because to be honest, the company of that ship probably wouldn't have taken the time to even go into the ship and get some of the ship back, so that alt probably would have just got destroyed slowly by the ocean.
bell, which hung from the bridge of the ship. It was
You
never
took
found.
the fucking bell? You're telling me someone right now has that bell probably in the fucking living room? It is just like he's watching this video and he's just chuckling while like he's just like, I got the bell. I would buy the bell. $20,000. Call me up. I'll buy the bell.
Who's stealing?
And it could be private. You don't even. I would never tell anybody I would have the bell. I just think it would be cool to have.
It's a big fuck off bell.
No, into that story, you have to understand. It's a cool bell.
Even the server admins were getting involved. 4 divers who were part of the company contracted to refloat the Concordia were spotted on CCTV, sneaking out to the ship. A patrol boat was dispatched, and the men were caught inside the fancy suites with rucksacks full of stolen goods. The 4 men are charged with stealing and thieving.
Only 4 to 6 months? You know what? Not that bad.
And pinching. Later on, stolen as well as legitimate items found their way to Amazon and eBay. Chips from the casino, postcards, and cabin access cards became highly sought after souvenirs.
It even has a watermark.
Some Australian guy even made a listing for the ship itself.
I remember seeing this. I do remember seeing this because my stepdad was just chuckling about it when he seen it.
Advertising it as buyer to collect. And although there were plenty of bidders, eBay pulled the plug. I know you want to see Scatino go to jail, and we'll get to that. But first, we have to talk about someone else. Domnica Samorton.
That was a close one.
There was speculation that she was on the bridge that evening because she was the captain's mistress.
want to call her out, but she just looks like a Karen. Like,
Tense media speculation reports that her presence distracted the captain.
They both denied their love for years and maintained that they were just friends. Although she did later admit to the media that she found him handsome.
is he handsome? Is my idea of handsome just out the window?
And how could you not?
You so fucking precious when you smile.
But she says there was no romantic link between them.
Some people would like to believe, they want to know I have something with him. It's more interesting. It's like, you know, some spicy in the story.
Miss Sir Morton also loved the spotlight, however.
Everyone, oh look!
And took several interviews.
Yeah, most people are like that. Even if they're lying, they'd like to be on the news, you know, fame, glory.
But as the pressure mounted upon her, she began making ominous threats to Scatino.
I give you just 1 week to tell the truth about what happened immediately after you did the announcement to abandon ship.
Saying he must confess, and that you have but
They got 52 likes.
1 week to come clean. But things from here get weird.
Spicy.
Sir Morton is a bit of a wild card. In a subsequent interview, she claimed a helicopter came to the ship well before the other rescue craft to take away a package. Huh? And what was that package? Drugs, apparently. So rumors began that the ship was running narcotics for the mafia. And not without cause. A number of cruise ships, even recently, have been caught trafficking drugs.
Once again, the Italian mafia doing what they do best.
As an aside,
look, there are a few people I don't fuck with in this world. The IRS, the Italian mafia, and the people of the back streets of England. Those are the people I don't fuck with. I'll leave you alone, you leave me alone, I'm just passing through.
Scatino was tested for drugs immediately after the crash. He tested negative for drugs in his system, but trace amounts of cocaine were found in a hair sample.
Makes it smoother and...
Yeah, he does cocaine in his free time, what's the problem?
Less dry.
Nonetheless, the Concordia was searched.
As long as he's
and
not
no
doing
drugs were
cocaine while
reportedly
driving
ever
a big ass
found.
ship, I don't
How
care
did
what
we
he does
get
in his
here?
free time.
Oh, right, a helicopter. Sir Morton commented on it again the next day and said, actually, that helicopter was just for the captain as a means of evacuation from the ship. Okay, wait. So she expected to get some sort of first-class rescue while everyone else was still stuck on the ship? Wait, how did we get here? Oh, right, sex with the captain. Divers were quick to head to the captain's cabin where they found Miss Sir Morton's lingerie and other articles of clothing as well as a makeup bag. The jig was up, but they continued denying it. Sir Morton mostly faded from international attention until she was told to appear before the court to present witness testimony. The judge pressed her to be truthful about their relationship, or she would be held in contempt.
Either tell me the truth or shut up.
So finally, she admitted it.
Yes, I had a sentimental relationship with the captain.
Stop.
But now, stop asking about my private life.
She was indeed the captain's lover.
What is up, Trouble Alert Nation? Citino cheated on his wife with C. Mortan. Oh my god!
She and Scatino had been having an affair.
Look, I know this is a random. I hate Keemstar and who he is as a person with all my being.
For several weeks. She also said that on the night she boarded, she didn't have a ticket.
Ticket, please.
And didn't need to pay because nobody questions you when you're the captain's lover. Naturally, she gave another confusing interview after leaving court.
I wonder how many people like get on these cruise ships without tickets and no one notices. Like there has to be like an expert on getting on cruise ships. Like there has to be a guy out there who's so good at like slipping in.
I want to say that today is the second time I die because the first time I died in the night of the crash with my psychological brain and problems.
No, you only die twice. When your heart stops for the final time and someone speaks your name for the final time. That's the only time you die twice. I rest my case.
And today I died the second time because Of course, people find out something that I try to hide.
Subsequent to the trial, she used her fame in Moldova to become a political activist, often appearing on television and radio and in articles covering protests, accompanied by pictures of her being arrested by police. It was some stuff about
I have no idea what's
violence,
going on.
women's rights,
Girl power.
yada yada yada. And interestingly, part of a push to block the sale of shares of Moldova's train network to Russia. Sure. Other than that, I don't really know what she's been up to. Let me just check on her Oh God, not again.
Is that an airplane? I can't read any of. Oh no.
Again.
You know what? Not my problem.
Several civil suits were quickly lodged against Costa Crociere, and their parent company, Carnival Cruises, immediately saw a share drop of 23%. Passengers sought compensation for their damaged mental health, lost belongings, and loved ones.
Either they allowed him to divert from his course, or they didn't know where their billion-dollar ship was.
Within a few days, facing
First off, wasn't a $1 billion ship, it was $1 million ship. No. He has all the right to be angry.
Financial and media pressure, the CEO attempted to join the bandwagon against the captain and the crew.
That was not the ordinary route that the ship was taking.
Look, I understand what this company's trying to do, like, you know, trying to throw their crew under the bus. But at the same time, I don't mind it because the crew was just not qualified for this at all. They were just not. They weren't qualified.
At the time.
Like the company's at fault here for the crew they hired.
And was not only taking, but the time the ship was...
Claiming that the ship was not approved to deviate from the route. But that wasn't true. Approval isn't required if the ship is deviating by less than 15 miles, or that it was against company rules. Also untrue, because investigators found that they didn't have any rules about deviating route, and they tacitly encouraged sail by salutes. Now, in response to the civil suits, Costa Crociere offered passengers €11,000 each as compensation.
That's kind of small.
11,000 euros, about $14,000, is the minimum compensation under international law when a ship is abandoned.
You're gonna have a lawsuit on your desk by the end of this.
This was to reimburse them for their tickets, as well as any costs they accrued in having to unexpectedly travel home early.
And that was supposed to release them from everything and anything that has to do with this accident. I cannot ask for more than this.
A lot of passengers, understandably, were not too happy with this deal, and they refused to take the money.
We think the offer is an insult. For what these poor passengers went through, we think that the compensation being offered is not commensurate.
Here, take it.
Compensation being offered is not commensurate.
Later, Costa Crociere would lodge a plea deal with the Tuscany court to pay a €1 million fine to avoid a criminal trial. The judge agrees. Costa Crociere is now off the hook.
How much is a $1 million fine?
For all criminal liability for the whole.
God, I love rich people. I love the idea where if there's a point of a person when you have so much money that you can just pay off a $1 million fine and you just walk away like nothing happened.
Whole thing. They've washed their hands of the incident and flecked the residual droplets of responsibility onto the faces of 6 staff.
Oh, for sure it's these guys' fault, like 90%. 10% it's the company's fault for hiring these idiots.
Members. Passengers and relatives of the dead are livid that the company has been able to avoid criminal responsibility.
Offered is not commensurate.
Civil suits against the company continue. By the way, the residents of the island of Giglio also banded together and sought damages. They didn't get much.
I have to say, nothing against the people of the island. If the ship, like, if they get rid of the ship and everything that's in it, and it doesn't cause any environment problems, then the island doesn't deserve any money. Like, maybe money for the rescue operation and stuff, I can see that, but...
Eventually, passengers who refused the initial compensation of $11,000 joined civil parties against Scatino in his trial in 2015.
Is not commensurate.
They were awarded €30,000 each. Other cases, especially those involving lost relatives, are settled for undisclosed amounts.
Ow.
New York attorney Peter Renee traveled to Budapest to represent 6 real survivors of the disaster.
At Renee & Renee, we personally work on every case.
And we'll work. I've seen this ad. I've seen this ad on my actual TV once. No, twice. I've seen this ad. This is a real ad. It has been played before.
Harder than.
And I know exactly where his office is. I know this is a weird thing to say. I know it because it's close to a dentist, and there's also another lawyer office close to it as well.
Anyone to get you the most money possible in the shortest amount of time.
And while on the job, a 7th case popped up via email. An elderly woman, Alona, said,
"Help me, Mr. Ronai, for I have lost my daughter, Eva, and my 5-year-old granddaughter, Roxana."
So Mr. Renai agreed to speak with her. However, there were some inconsistencies in her story. Neither Eva nor Roxana were on the passenger list. Odd, but Costa is known for having stowaways.
Gotcha, bitch!
Still, Mr. Renai was suspicious. They wouldn't cheaty old Petey, would they? Renai inquired further about why she was on board, especially without a ticket. Ilona said,
"Well, I don't know, but you should ask her boyfriend.
Zolt Horvath.
He'll know all the details."
What the fuck are we on?
I'm going crazy, he said. But Mr. Renai was still suspicious. Because then she asked, "How much money do you think this is worth?" This is a huge red flag, Petey. In 20 years of doing this, you've never had anyone ask about money. Why now? So Mr. Renai hired an investigator and sent photos around of the missing girl. The next day, the phone rang. Ahoy hoy, it was the boyfriend again. Look, there's been a bit of a misunderstanding and the child isn't missing at all. Uh-huh. And then he claimed he was confused because he had done too many drugs the night before. Oh. Okay, can I speak to the daughter then? At
that's a
first,
fair
he was
argument.
refused. So Renai said that he'd have to file a missing persons report to the police if he couldn't. The boyfriend relented. That night, Renai met with Zolt and brought the police with him. He speaks to the granddaughter and asks her if she's seen Mum. "Yeah, I saw her today." "Oh, really?" "Yeah, we went to the park today and we went on the swings." Oh no, the jig was up. So the mum walks into the room sheepishly. "It's a miracle." And the story changed again. "Okay, I'm not dead, but I did injure my leg when I jumped from the ship. And then I immediately flew back to Budapest. Although don't worry about checking my leg because there are no visible marks or injuries." Oh, Petey, I'm beginning to think they weren't even on the boat. Also, it turns out this lady isn't her mum, it's just a neighbor. Eventually, Renee managed to make the pair confess. And then they said, "Hey, we haven't done anything wrong. We haven't taken any money." And in the end, it looks like there'll be no criminal punishment for the scam, because Hungary, a former communist country, has no laws against insurance fraud.
I can't even be mad. Like I respect the hustle. You know, you're just trying to make some money.
Fraud on the books.
The law firm that never sleeps. Call 1-800-6647.
Oh, that's a bad idea. Oh, that's a very bad idea.
Mario, would you teach me some Italian?
Oh, of course! Means get back on board for fuck's sake.
Okay, thanks.
Gregorio De Falco, the naval officer who shouted at Scatino to "Vada a bordo caso," became a bit of a national hero overnight in Italy. He, like the rest of the world, expected Scatino to go down with the ship. And when the captain chickened out, DeFalco was there to admonish him. And when he stopped answering the radio, he called him on his cell phone to continue putting him on blast. When the captain first reported just a blackout, DeFalco didn't believe the story and immediately began preparing a rescue effort, which likely saved several lives.
Yeah.
His actions were applauded by most Italians who were tired of their public servants being corrupt and avoiding responsibility. Accordingly, shirts sporting Vada a bordo caso were being printed by the end of the week, others setting it as their phone's ringtone. But then, in September 2014, without warning, DeFalco was transferred to an admin role in the Coast Guard.
Hear what I said? You've been demoted.
DeFalco said that he had been passed up for promotion, that he had also not been told which admin office he was even being transferred to, and that it all effectively cancelled 10 years of his career. DeFalco
I'd be so pissed.
Tres Furioso, and there was public speculation that it was owing to bad blood between himself and Admiral Delano, his former boss. His status among the public overshadowed his superior in many ways. On the other hand, his boss said, no, it's part of a normal career progression for naval officers and that he must show more maturity and professionalism to advance his career. Now, it's hard to know what's true in office politics, so let's leave that alone. And anyway, in 2018, DeFalco said Buenas noches, ya later, to the Italian Navy to become a politician. In March that year, he was elected to the Italian Senate, serving as a member for Livorno. He still serves there today.
I'm the captain now.
The day after the disaster, Schettino was taken into custody by police and underwent questioning. However, it was clear that this would not be a straightforward investigation. So the judge released him under house arrest at his home in Sorrento, a town in Napoli. By July of that year, the house arrest was relaxed and he was allowed within this general area. While under house arrest, he wrote a book with this journalist from Rai magazine. I have no idea what it says, I don't speak Italian. But goddammit, he must have some kind of charisma going on, because there's been a lot of speculation in the press that he had an affair with her as well.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Like I said, I can't even be mad at this guy anymore.
This dude is determined to abandon his wife as well. So, Schettino and 5 others are facing criminal charges. Straight away, everyone lodges a plea bargain with the court. And all of those plea bargains are accepted, except for Schettino's. And the condition of everyone's reduced sentences are that they must provide witness testimony against Schettino.
He touched me.
Ciro, Jacob, and Silvio were all given suspended sentences. Roberto and Manrico are able to opt for community service or house arrest. Not a bad deal. A good deal. Good deal. And that meant that Schettino was now all on his own. Ciro, the first officer, was the first to give his testimony. On the witness stand, he claimed that Schettino was distracted by his mistress and other guests on the bridge. That there was confusion over who was in command. Then it was Jacob's turn, and he said Lamau XD because he didn't actually bother with his testimony or his reduced sentence. He just fled the country. It took authorities 12 months to eventually track him down on the outskirts of Jakarta. And when they said, "Oi, we still want that witness testimony," he just scalped again, and he hasn't been.
Well, I can't be mad. Like this is the one guy. Well, I'm glad he made it out. Like he escaped. Like you can't even be angry at this guy. Like he was a painter, then a janitor, then he worked for a big ass ship company. And he fled a prison sentence. That was only a year. Like, it wasn't even a long prison sentence. And he was like, Lamau XD fled the country. They find him. He disappears again. Like, I just want to know what he's doing right now. Like, is he just at home just sipping on like a cold one? He's like, magic time I crashed a ship on the Italian coast.
Found since. After that, Ferrarini gave his testimony, then look, we don't have time to relitigate the whole trial, so let's just go straight to the verdict. Guilty! Schettino was found guilty of multiple manslaughter, causing a shipwreck, abandoning ship, and lying to authorities. He is sentenced to 16 years and 1 month in prison.
That's it? That's it?
But wait, there's still the appeals.
I feel like he got away easy. Like, I know 16 years is a long time, but like, he looks like he's at least in his mid-40s. He'll be like 50-something when he gets out. He'll still have like half his life left.
The appeals trial begins. And the verdict on the appeal? Surprise! Rejected. So Scatino's lawyers appealed again. And the verdict on the final appeal?
Scatino made multiple attempts to secure a plea deal, but was denied by the prosecution each time. The prosecution called for Scatino to be sentenced to 26 years in prison, calling the incident a titanic affair.
They gave him 10 more years?
Scatino was not present. His lawyers stated that he was waiting outside of the jail for the ruling, so that if his plea was rejected, he could immediately start serving his sentence. And with that, 5 years and 4 months after the disaster, he was finally in a cell.
I will not be making any comment. Oh, God, that hurt.
Oh, in my brain, I'm like, I know that song intro, but I couldn't remember. This line is tempting.
The salvage operation was enormous. It took over 2 years and cost an estimated $1.2 billion.
Bro, the ship is only 500 mil. It costs double the ship twice just to get rid of it. Bro, I would execute the captain myself. I wouldn't even put him in prison. I would find him and I'll just shoot him back
Beginning
dead.
in early 2012, they first spent 2 months pumping fuel from the ship's tanks. At the same time, they had to pump seawater
Wait,
in
it took them 2 months to pump fuel out of the tanks?
so that the balance wasn't affected and the ship didn't slide around. In early 2013, a platform was built under the ship to prevent it from falling further. Sponsons were then attached to the sides of the ship and cables attached to the underwater platform. The sponsons were then dragged underwater and opened up to allow the ocean to fill them. The ship could then roll over properly. By late 2013, the ship was upright once more. The sponsons were then attached to the side of the ship to help keep it balanced. It now rested partially above water and crews could walk around safely. By July 2014, the water was removed from the sponsons and compressed air was pumped in to lift the ship. And she was ready to cruise again. This time to a port in Genoa. It was a 4-day towing journey to the docks where a 2-year process of dismantling and recycling would begin. That same weekend of the towing, Scatino was busy. He was the guest of honor at a white party on an island in the Bay of Naples. He appeared on the front page of a local newspaper, flanked by 2 of Italy's most eligible bachelorettes.
Wow.
Anyway, so these are the things that
bro, I'm just amazed that this shit happens in real life. Like, I'm just like you think about it, and you're like, oh, that sounds too idiotic. And it actually happens, you're like, huh. Once again, life proves me wrong. Well, I don't even know what to say. At least our boy survived. He's somewhere in Indonesia right now, probably chilling, sipping a cold one, while the captain is sitting in his 26-year prison sentence. Well, I guess I'll see you in the next video. I have to rethink my life after this video.